Summer is the time for blockbuster movies, when audiences pack theaters for explosive action sequences and jaw-dropping spectacles. But while we're staring at the big screen, mesmerized by Hollywood magic, the production itself needs a meteorologist, staring at the radar, watching for the real storms that could shut everything down. When a single day of shooting can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, a surprise thunderstorm isn't just inconvenient, it's a catastrophe. Lightning can shut down outdoor sets in seconds. High winds can transform props into deadly projectiles. This week we're going off the radar and headed to the set with meteorologist Brett Zweiback. He's been the unsung hero behind productions like Stranger Things, The Handmaid's Tale, and The Walking Dead. He's forecasted on-set weather for blockbuster films like Jurassic World, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and Clifford the Big Red Dog. Join us for this revealing conversation with the weather consultant who keeps TV and film crews safe when Mother Nature demands an unscheduled cameo. I'm meteorologist Emily Gracey, and you're listening to Off the Radar, a production of the National Weather Desk. On the show, we dig deep into topics about weather, climate, the ocean, space, and much more. Our goal is to help you better understand the weather and to love it as much as we do.
Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Soo, returning to narrate her fifth Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
Welcome to Off the Radar, special episode today because we have a special guest, Ben Tomfohrde. Good morning, Ben. How's it going?
It's going great.
Good. All right. So for those of you who are unaware of who Ben is, he is our intern this summer for the National Weather Desk. Probably heard his voice or seen his face on a lot of our digital content. You've been churning out some stuff this summer, huh?
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure to work with you, Emily, and with the rest of the team. Again, I've enjoyed creating lots of content for Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it. Also enjoy creating articles. Also enjoy getting time to spend with the WJLA meteorologist in the studio, practice my my broadcast and weather communication skills. Again, it's been a phenomenal time.
Yeah, I mean, you've gotten a little bit of everything this summer for sure. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Where do you go to school?
So I go to school at Penn State University. I'm there until December. I'll be graduating then. Originally, I'm from New Jersey, and I think really my weather journey starts with Hurricane Sandy back in 2012. I lose power for a week. I have to go to school in a church. When I at least see all this, I see a lot of devastation, destruction, and I wonder, what can I do about this? How can I maybe make this into a passion? And a lot of meteorologists say, that's their event, that's their calling to weather. So Hurricane Sandy, that was mine. And that's really where I kind of jumped headfirst into meteorology and weather. And from there, it was really creating weather forecasts.
All right. So you've done a lot of stuff this summer. Has anything that you learned this summer pivoted your career goals at all? I know you were talking about you love forensics. Do you think that anything's changed? Are you still kind of hoping for that path? Or have you learned anything this summer that's directed you another way?
So I think this summer, what I've really learned is I think the value of communication within weather. I always wanted to do forecasting. I always wanted to be a forecaster, but having to at least dive into a field, you have to know your stuff and be a good communicator and be respected among others. So I think that what I want to do is definitely continue to take the path of forecasting. But again, on the side, if I want to, again, create these quick reels whether it be for myself or wherever I want to go in the future work for, I can do that. The field's changing, a lot's been happening, but at least I still want to stay within the weather communication realm and do forensics if I can on the side. It'll be fun.
All right, well, let's talk about today's guest. You obviously brought him in. You know him. Can you give us a little background? Tell us who we're talking to today.
Yeah, so the guest that I brought in, his name is Brett Zweiback. He is the owner, founder, CEO of Spot on Weather. He combined his love for movies, combined his love for production, put that together, and that's really how he came up with Spot On. His job's so unique where he really has this one-on-one contact with his client, which is usually someone within movie production. And it's really unique to see. And with the forensics, also learning how he takes care of slip and fall accidents. And it's definitely good to hear his story and hear what he has to say about what his work involves.
Yeah, he definitely goes through kind of the good, the bad, because there's a lot of, like really exciting stuff when it comes to this sort of business where you're forecasting for these productions. But there's a lot of stuff too that's kind of less exciting that he talks about, which is really interesting. So you get a good feel of both sides of the business, which is nice. And I was worried he wasn't going to name names, but he definitely names drops some big productions that he's worked on and gives us a few deets, which is really cool. Awesome. Ben, is there anything else you want to share? It's been a great summer having you here. We appreciate all the hard work you've done with the National Weather Desk and the help that you've done with this particular interview today, especially, I was in a cabin in the woods and my Wi-Fi was terrible. So you kind of took over and did a lot of the interview, which was great. So appreciate everything you've done. Any last words for us before we hear from Brett?
I'm not really. Again, the only reason that I be in this position is thanks to, I guess, a lot of the professors, classmates, working through at Penn State. So again, all the thanks to them. I appreciate being on the podcast for the first time as well.
Awesome. Intern Ben, thank you so much for all you do and best of luck in the future.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Brett, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this really interesting work that you are in, because, everybody thinks meteorologists are all on TV or working for the National Weather Service, but there's this whole private sector of meteorologists that are doing really cool things. And you, I'm sure, have some great stories to tell. So we can't wait to hear some of those. Can you start by giving us a little background on exactly what it is you do, like day to day?
Sure. I have my own company where I provide weather forecasting to a lot of production entities, feature films, TV shows. It could be something like observing as well, like the Macy's fireworks. We have like an on-site observer go each year to monitor the winds and everything from the biggest concern, of course, is lightning and when you have a lot of crowds. A lot of the times that the work I do for productions, it's for safety reasons. They have a lot of people on sets, a lot of extras and a lot of crew members, and there's actors, and there's a lot of running parts. So I provide this little niche where we go in and we provide them customized weather forecasts on a daily basis. And we also alert them when there's severe thunderstorm watches, wind watches, tornado watches, any kind of entity that we feel could be something that could affect their production, we alert them. And you might, a lot of people may think, well, you can find that stuff online, but really it gives the customer and the clients an opportunity to speak to a live meteorologist all the time and to get very, very specific details, like how far is the lightning away from my set? How many miles is it? And which way is that moving? Which way is that lightning moving? How long is it going to last? There's a lot of union rules with productions, and we kind of are aware of some of them, and a lot of that has to do with safety. Like I said before, keeping the production alert to changing weather. So the bottom line is that we do a lot of weather forecasting for films, TV, productions, music videos. It could be a concert. We do a lot of that kind of work. We do a lot of forensics as well. And what that is, just simple, is biggest example, somebody falls on ice or snow outside of a business establishment, and they need to prove, was there ice there? What did this person fall on ice? How much ice was? How thick was the ice? So we look at a lot of like weather parameters and try and determine what the they call it reasonable degree of meteorological certainty to what the weather conditions were. So we do plaintiff, defense, either one. And it's very interesting because there's so many different angles with going back. And it's a lot different from forecasting, because forecasting is, okay, that's an estimate. But past weather, it's like, that's just what happened. There's no guess. That part of our business is it's not an everyday thing. The productions is all the time because there's always filming, there's always productions going on. Whereas legal, an attorney might have a case. I might have 5 or 6 going on at once, reports to write, or it could be a dry period with very, very little. So it's, but that's what I do. Those are the two main areas that I dip into as far as my company goes.
So having worked with you, Brett, at least 2 summers ago, what sort of blockbuster films you might have done in the past?
Over the years, we've done so many films, and I mean, I'll just name a few of them that you're probably familiar with: the NCIS, Blue Bloods, Big in New York. One of the favorites I've done is The Walking Dead. That one was a big one. A lot of moving parts, and my wife and I actually went down to visit the set. One year, it was maybe one of, I don't know what season it was, but it was very, very interesting to see how they film. I haven't really been on the sets that often. You're watching them film, and it's cuts and doing the scenes over in different angles, different camera angles. It was very, very interesting. And while we were there, we actually took a van with one of the actors, Norman Reedus. My wife was kind of starstruck, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing, Norm?" It was a fun experience to see how they film. Also really meet my clients and producers who I speak to on the phone every day, because a lot of times they just like, oh, it's nice to see the face behind the voice, because that's how they know me. So it was very nice. Went to the production offices, saw the props, and a show like that's got a gazillion kind of props. Jurassic World. We've done stuff like the Clifford, SpongeBob. We also have done like we've gone to different concert events like the Jonas Brothers. One real interesting thing, and this was many years ago on a prior job, I actually met Taylor Swift. We were doing a weather observing for insurance purposes. So a lot of these times, these big gigs, or they have productions, they take out a weather insurance just in case they're at an event and it God forbid there's lightning or there's rain and they have to close it down or shut it down. So we were there observing the weather at this concert for rain purposes, just in case. So it was nice. I met Taylor Swift. Another thing I did for many years is I was the meteorologist for the Macy's parade. So I would be at the parade uptown watching the, every little nick and cranny with weather, but more importantly, winds. Because that was with a lot of things with the Macy's parade involves the winds with the flying those big balloons. So that's much of the things I have done in the past. There's just a lot of TV shows and films, that we work on, Nickelodeon, CBS, you name the studio, we've kind of done it.
But how exactly do the movie productions really find you? How are you able to at least showcase your work with other productions or other clients and say, hey, I want to work with this movie, I want to forecast for your movie?
Well, a lot of it has to do with referral. I've been doing this for many, many years. A lot of these films and TV shows, they know me. And, no TV show or film is reoccurring. A lot of people don't know this, but, when a new season of a TV show comes out, sometimes the producers change and the production management changes. So they might not want to use a weather service. But I do look at leads and production lists as well, especially when the times are a little bit slower. And there has been times where it's been especially in the past year or two, a lot of productions have gone overseas. It hasn't been quite as busy in the United States as I'd like it to be, but we do look at leads and we do look at production lists, and I do make cold calls. You solicit 10 productions. If you get one, that's great.
So do any of these productions, are they ever at least seeking like bad weather? Maybe they want like a scene with rain or...
Most of the time you would think they want nice weather, of course. Because a lot of movies they want to see, they want to clearly see visible bridges and they want to see the ocean and they want to see mountains. But yeah, we do get a couple of those kind of movies, like Scary Movie, for example. I mean, I don't know how many they made of those, but yeah, they want, a lot of the work they done with a lot of these horror movies is night work. So, they want dark, they want clouds. So, and a lot, I would say the biggest thing I get is they want cloud cover. Because a lot of these films, they want it to be cloudy. They want, they want to match certain scenes. Sometimes they take a scene from part of a movie and they're like, oh man, we need to match that. So they have to wait for a day that's very, very similar. It's very, very precise sometimes, because not only do they want cloud cover, but they want cumulus clouds. They want that kind of stratocumulus, that kind of straight deck of clouds, like a stratified. And so that's a challenge sometimes, predicting that, very challenging. But yeah, we do get occasional movies where I've had movies where they want it raining all the time. It's not all that frequent. Where would you think that would be? Of course, Pacific Northwest. And they would film in like Seattle or Portland or San Francisco in the wintertime. So we do occasionally get that as well.
Have there been times in your career where you've been the bearer of bad news, like bad weather is going to be dangerous to the set, so you need to delay or shut things down?
Definitely. Yes. I've had many times. I would say the biggest concern is thunderstorms, severe weather, tornadoes. Not all that doesn't happen all that often, but I do get, and I've had in the past few years, a lot of clientele in Oklahoma and Tornado Alley, in the Midwest, from Kansas, Oklahoma into the Midwest. So yeah, every big project I've done, in a lot of the TV shows I've done where I know that they're very weather dependent and they have a lot of, sometimes they have a lot of extras. I will get the producer or the person in charge of safety, the phone number to let them know that the weather's coming, so they can have a little bit of a buffer zone to get people inside, because that's the biggest thing with productions. You don't want 200 extras outside with a thunderstorm coming, or tennis ball size hail. It would just be a disaster, not only to the safety, but also to the stuff outside. A lot of these productions have a lot of sets.
And is there anyone who's really trying to give some sort of like a pushback when they get your forecast and they're kind of, I guess, a bit concerned that they might not finish the film on time?
Yeah, that's definitely something that we've dealt with, because a lot of these productions have budgets. I mean, they have very, very tight budgets and timelines, but when it comes down to weather, they will stop. But there's been instances where we see storms coming and I give them a window. Hey, you have another 2 hours, and they're happy because they rather get another hour and a half in there than, and come back the next day for 2 hours instead of 8 hours. And believe it or not, even after they're done filming, they have to wrap. A lot of the crew members have to get all the equipment back, and they have to, get all the stuff back to the warehouse. So that's also another very important time. I get a lot of calls. We're done filming, Brett, but when is this lightning going to stop? Because we need people to get home. There's a lot of information, as I said before, moving parts to production. And another thing that I deal with a lot of times is actors. I don't speak to actors directly, but I'll get a phone call every so often. Hey, we have an actor flying, and it could be a big name, flying from point A to point B. Can you tell me when the best time to get on a flight would be? When there'd be the least amount of delays, or the best course that we would, the best course of action?
I know that when I was an intern, a lot of the movies that we forecasted for, they were under a code name. Are you able to talk about these specific movies or what movies they're going to be once they're out to the public?
Yeah, I think a lot of the code names was because when they were in production, they didn't want a lot of, hysteria or, people coming to the set. Unsolicited, but some of the shows that we did, that we really enjoyed, I would say Stranger Things was one of the ones that was, that stands out. That was that they had some co-names throughout the seasons, but they just wrapped season 5. We just did season 5, and that was a lot They're a lot of fun. They're nice, really good people to work with. Another big show that we did, and they also had some different names each season, was The Handmaid's Tale. Very, very popular show on Hulu. We had these productions that had these code names. We also have to sign agreements, non-disclosure agreements, very, very frequent, because they have very proprietary information about their show, about their filming, about what the script is. Because a lot of times we get call sheets to see where they're going to be filming, so we can see in advance. But on these call sheets, there'll be information such as what the script's about. So we have to sign in the non-disclosure agreements, for my companies, that we won't say anything.
All right. Well, let's talk about the other side of your business, the forensic side. Can you take us through what a forensic case might look like?
Let's hypothetically say someone comes out of a major department store, a plaintiff, and they slip on ice in the parking lot while going to retrieve that car. It's hypothetical. Basically, a plaintiff attorney will call me, and this will be years later because it takes a long time for these cases to go to court. But they'll call me and we'll get, they say they'll have a case. Plaintiff Jane Doe, she fell on ice at 9 a.m, going to a car. I need you to get all the weather records in that area and let me know, was it cold enough for there to be snow there? Was it cold enough for there to be a layer of ice there? When the last time there was precipitation? What were the temperatures like? So I'll go in and I'll dig in. I'll look at the area that it fell. Let's say it was, Bay Ridge. So now what I'll do is I'll take a look at the closest stations, Central Park, Kennedy Airport, maybe even some smaller stations near Staten Island or in Brooklyn, some smaller stations as well. But we'll look at we'll look at all the weather information in that area. Last time it snowed, how much snow fell, what the temperatures were, and we'll go back and we'll devise a report. And, a lot of the times in these cases, there was a snowstorm, not all the time, but there was a snowstorm 5 days prior. And a few days after that, it warmed up. And then, 24 hours before the accident, temperatures dropped below freezing. So there you go. I mean, you have a prime example where there was a storm, a thaw, and a refreeze. A perfect recipe for ice. And I could look at pictures, I could look at depositions, and I could come up with a report. And ultimately, what the lawyer is trying to do is to try and get, based on the report, trying to get the case dismissed. If it doesn't work, then we go to the trial. A lot of the weather information I get has to be from the Department of Commerce. And they used to be called NCDC. A few years back, they changed it to NCEI, National Centers for Environmental Information. We go in, we get certified weather records. That's like the blue ribbon and seal. The blue ribbon and seal, it makes it authentic. It's the only place in the United States you could get certified records. Doing it for many years, I have experience, and it's been great because I've actually gotten work where I work for the plaintiff on the stand, and the defense liked my work. Like, he hired me on a case down the line, on another case. So it's definitely also a great business because you just don't know who you're going to get involved with, and it could be more referrals from there. So that's another aspect of the business I'd like to continue to grow. But, this day and age, years ago, we used to be law books where you could put an ad in. This day, 2025, nobody's looking at law journals anymore, and everything is online. I just have to, have a good website and have, the search engine optimization, which I do every so often, so people could see me. It could go, to the top of the list.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. If someone wants to maybe get into this type of work, obviously assuming you need a meteorology degree, background, maybe communication skills, personality, obviously has to be a factor if you want to get into the movies. How exactly should someone really approach this style of meteorology in general?
Yeah, that's also a good question. I mean, from everybody that I spoke to, a lot of the interns I've had, majority of them have had their bachelor's in meteorology. And I really urge someone that's in their junior year in meteorology to reach out to a company, to private sector, to reach out to the National Weather Service, the government sector, to really, that's when you really should get your hands on getting an internship, junior year, senior year at the latest. Other things to do is to intern at a TV station. That's a great, I've done 2 of those. That's a great way to see how they implement graphics with forecasting and also how they implement storylines. Because a lot of the times there's big stories that go on with the weather, and they'll have the on-talent person, discuss that, and they'll have to cut video. So that's really my advice for, in your junior year to really start actively looking for private companies. Go online, look, get your resume out there. From there, you might want to do forecasting, or you might decide, hey, I want to go into the energy sector, which has been big in the last 10, 20 years. But if you're interested in forecasting, a private company or TV station, radio, that's really the way to go to just to get your feet wet in that area.
Well, thank you so much, Brett, for your time. It's obviously been a pleasure to talk to you, learn about your story.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much, Brett. It was great to hear all about your career. Best of luck in the future. Off the Radar is a production of the National Weather Desk. Make sure you're following the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes publish every Tuesday. A big thanks to Brett Zweiback from Spot On Weather for joining us today to talk about his career. Also, thank you to our summer intern at the National Weather Desk, Ben Tomfohrde, for helping me host this episode. Thanks to the National Weather Desk and Sinclair Broadcast Group for their ongoing support of the podcast. And as always, my amazing associate producer, Brian Petras, for his help with today's episode. I'm meteorologist Emily Gracey. Make it a great day.
Yes, Mr. Gecko, you're a huge inspiration to us all. But who was your muse?
Oh, my dear old Nan. She imparted many wise words to me. She would say, never let the fame get to your head, always remember who you are, and let people get more than just savings with Geico's fast and friendly claim support. I lived up to her advice, and now anyone can file a claim anywhere and anytime. I miss her so much.
Did she go somewhere?
Yeah, extended quilting trip.
Ah.
Get more than just savings. Get more with Geico.